seats. So we're real blessed to have with us this morning Evangelist Orlando Salinas, and he's going to be with us all day long. And we've been outreaching feverishly between flyers that he has created and 3-on-3. And so this morning we're going to open our hearts and welcome him as he comes to worship Lord.
Good morning, man. I found out that I don't have much time here. And serious, man. We don't have much time either to do what we need to do in this world. This is a crazy world. Would you agree? Yes. But this morning, you know, I don't want to. I'm going to share my testimony today. Tonight, we can invite people. That'd be awesome. And I don't want to go into any kind of detail of where I come from. You know, speaking to a brother this morning, he said, when I look in the mirror, I remind of who I am. Well, really, it doesn't matter who you are now. It's what you are becoming that really matters. Yes. You shouldn't ask, what am I doing here? What you should ask is, what am I becoming here? Is the question. This morning, I want to talk about, I'm going to read out 1 Corinthians 13. A very, very familiar portion of Scripture. And I want you to, what I'm about to share with you, I learned in prison. I was living in an 8x5 cell. And this is important. Because what I'm going to share with you, you know, it's kind of got a revelation. And I'm so glad that God gave me a revelation, even in prison. You know, that I could be doing the things that I do today. It's a miracle. You know, that's why I told them people last night, if you were asking for a miracle, God just sent you. Because many of us are here are miracles. You know, now what are you going to do with it is the question. So this morning I want to speak on an issue that's very passionate to me, that I believe that we desperately need in our society. In fact, I believe that with all my heart. And this is why I do what I do. And that is that we need men in our society more than ever before. You know, men are literally confused in our society. Would you agree? Yes. I'm talking about confused. They don't know if they're coming or going. I mean, what is a man? Is the title of my teaching, if you may, today. What is a man? Think about that for a minute. Let me ask you even a more personal question. When did you become a man? Pretty powerful question, right? Answer it for yourself right now in your mind. When did you become a man? Was it when you were 12? When you had your first hit? When you were 15? When you had sex for the first time? When you were graduated? When did you become a man? And I thought that was a pretty powerful question when I heard it. I couldn't answer it. Because I didn't even know what a man was. And if you were like me, you know, I thought a man was somebody that, you know, partied hard and lived hard and was a womanizer and worked. I didn't believe in working. If you're a man, you need to work. Okay, so that's my first one right there. You need to work. What I'm saying is, people are confused. Men are like, I don't know what to do. Well, go to work. That's a start right there. But this question, I was listening to this guy who used to come into our church, into our prison, and he would teach us this series that he would teach. His name was, the series he would teach on is a man, Edwin Lewis Cole. Anybody heard of him? Edwin Lewis Cole. And this man, he was his ministry was to men. And when I heard about him, I read his books, I saw his video series in prison. I said, man, this is what we need in our society. Because this is what I wanted. I wanted to be a man. And I didn't know how. So my question this morning to you is, what is a man? Let's read our scripture. 1 Corinthians 13. If you don't know what that is, that's what we consider the love chapter. Who knows that? 1 Corinthians 13. It's considered the love chapter. This is where they talk about Paul's talking about having love, and it doesn't matter what you do, how many times you do it, how many times you come to church, and all these, if you're a prophet, if you're this, you're that. But if you don't have love, you have nothing. That's what it's teaching in this chapter. But right in the middle of this chapter, or right towards the end, in verse, where am I? Wrong Corinthians. Here it goes. Now that's 3 verses of the chapter. In verse 11, it says like this. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Is that the end of the scripture? When I became a man, I put away childish things. And if you read that chapter, it kind of throws you off, because it's talking about love and this and love that and love this. And all of a sudden it says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. And for years I wondered why it was there. Today I think I believe I know why. Because being a man is really learning to love. Not only yourself, but your family, your children, right? Your society. Because if we were like, yeah, I didn't know how to love. I had no idea how to love. I was broken. You know what we need in our society today is we desperately need men. So my question to you today is, what is a man? And I want to define that for you. Because in our society today, you know, we live in a society where anybody, you can do anything. You can be anything you want. If you're a boy, you can be a girl. Right? That's how it is. You know, you're just, it's just craziness. But I want to present to you a definition of a man that I've come up with based on everything I've learned. And basically this definition comes from a book from Robert Lewis. His name is Robert Lewis, and he has a book, several books. And one of them is called Raising a Modern Day Knight. I have a son. He's 12 years old. And I wanted to know how to raise my son, because I don't know how to raise a son. And I've been reading books on how to raise son, how to be a man. And this book, I found the definition of a man that I said, you know what, I'm going to take this around the world and present it to people and ask you to consider embracing it and working towards it. Let me give it to you. First of all, if you're writing notes, let me give you this one. Being male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of choice. You got that one? Did you know that in Facebook, and of course you probably don't because nobody has Facebook here. In Facebook, you have 58 options of gender.
Whoa.
You thought, I'm telling you, the world's going crazy. It's crazy. It's not going crazy. It's crazy. 58 options of gender. New York City recognizes 31 genders and protects them. This is serious business. We need men. We desperately need men of God. And that's why I do what I do, because being male is a matter of birth, but being a man, right, is a matter of choice. It's the first one. And here's the definition of what I consider being a man. A man is someone born male. First of all, I have to throw that in our society. A man is someone born male who rejects passivity, stops being lazy, accepts responsibility, start taking care of your family, gets a job, leads courageously, is not afraid to go out there and do what we need to do, and live with the expectation of a greater reward. I want you to take that with you. In fact, I have some papers back there. Why don't we go ahead and pass those papers out? I wrote it down for you so you wouldn't. And then I came up with that definition, and I'm asking people to take this definition and embrace it. What else? And I'm going to go ahead and pass them out, because what I'm passing out is, I had on a graduation. Who graduated this year? Nobody? From high school? No graduation? My nephew graduated this year. My nephew, he's 18 years old. He's huge. He's about 6'5", weighs about 200, pounds. Pretty huge. But his mother had him when she was 15, which is my niece. Abused, just crazy stuff. Just crazy stuff. So this young man, grew up confused. And bad scene. But his mother came about 3 or 4 years ago to church, got her life. She got saved, and she's doing great now, but her son is now doing great too. Just graduated. And I was the speaker at his graduation. And I was kind of nervous. I said, man, what am I going to share? What? I decided to put together what I wanted to put together for my son. When he's 13, I'm going to have a little get-together with a bunch of men, and I'm going to give him this. And I'm going to tell him, listen, from the age 13, you're no longer a kid. You're a man in training. I want him to have some place in time where he can look back and say, you know what, that day I became a man. Because none of us, I don't think, have that. Unless you do. Where you can say, you know what, that day I became a man. That day my dad told me I was a man. And I want that to be a pivoting point for my son, and I wanted this to be a pivoting point for my nephew. And it was. He said he would treasure this. I took this and I wrapped it up like a diploma, and I put a little band on it, and I read it to him, and then I gave it to him. So I want you to see if you agree with me that this is what a man is. And we have to have something tangible, something in our mind. What is a man? Well, here you go. Number one, a man seeks and loves the Lord his God, Jesus Christ. Number two, a man is a father, a husband, and a leader. A father, a husband, and a leader. This is what we're supposed to be, by the way, in case you didn't know this. As men, this is what we're called of God to be. Fathers, husbands, and leaders. Would you agree? Yes, that's it. But if you would have asked me 20 years ago, I had no idea what a man was. Number three, a man loves, protects, and respects his wife, prays for his wife, and talks and listens to her. Now, I'm not telling you this stuff is easy. Number four, a man loves his children. A man loves his children and teaches them the best way he knows how to live a godly and righteous life. A man protects, defends his family, and leads his family by example. I used to want to lead by direction, right? Go do this, you do this, do this. And us men, right? Do what you're told, not or how is it? Don't do what I do. Do what's that saying? There you go, that one. And I literally used to believe that. Number six, a man provides. A man provides and takes full responsibility for his family and never, ever abandons them. You don't think this is pretty simple stuff? It's not that difficult. But we didn't know this. But you present this to somebody in the world, they're like, some of you are probably already feeling like, oh man. But this is our job. I don't know if you realize this. This is our job. Isn't this serious, men? Right? We're serious men, right? This is serious business. Number 7, men fight. I like that one. Men fight for what is right and learns to fight the right battles at the right time. Number 8, a man takes the necessary and sometimes hard challenges and will do whatever it takes to succeed and overcome in life. Whatever it takes. A man never gives up and makes excuses. And a man takes full responsibility for all his actions and learns to deal with the unexpected problems and circumstances. I came up with 10 because, I don't know, I just like the number 10. Could have been 12. You can add to it. But I think this is a pretty good foundation. Who would agree? It is. Well, with this in mind, let me ask you a question. With this in mind, I remember listening to this man talking to me about being a man. And it really, really did something inside of me. Because I really wanted to be a man. I didn't know what a man was. I was a loser drug addict. In prison. That's all that's who I was. I didn't know that people like me could rise up and be someone different. I didn't know that. I thought I was going to be a vato loco forever. I'm serious, because that's what I imposed upon myself, right? This is who I am forever. You know, like that skit last night, you know. You're down for anything. Yeah, you're supposed to be down for anything, for righteousness. See, all you got to do, if you're about the local forever, or if you ever been that kind of, had that attitude that you do anything, see, I realized that I had all that I needed to do right, because I was doing it for wrong. I remember when I work with a lot of men, drug addicts, alcoholics, and they come into me and say, man, I'm trying. I'm telling them, stop that! Stop trying. What do you mean you're trying? Stop it! You know, because I know how to do things. I know how to be focused. Because when I wanted a hit, I didn't go try to get a hit. I was a drug addict. I didn't go try. I was going to go get one. See, that's how it works. I'm not going to try to be a man. I'm going to be a man. I'm not going to try to be a husband. I'm going to be a husband. I'm not going to try to be a father. I'm going to be a father. Amen. See, when I got that in my mind, it happened for me. I'm not telling you that you're going to be perfect. No. I'm telling you that you change directions and you go. This is how this stuff works. So, in order to figure out what a man is, this man started sharing, in order for us to understand what a man is, he said, first you want to understand what a child is. Because if you read the scripture, right, he said, when I became a man, I put away what? Childish things. So let's go over a few things of what a child is. I think that'll help us understand what a man is. So he went on and said, first of all, a child is self-centered and selfish. Okay? Would you agree?
Amen.
Yeah. A child is the center of his own world. Right? Me, mine, give. Right? We're trying to understand what a child is. A child will pick up his ball and go home if you don't play his game. Right? Goes home and cries to mommy. A child lies and cheats. Yeah, they do. When is the last time you tried to teach your child how to lie and cheat? You don't have to teach them that. Right? Oh, no, mijito. Yes, mijito. They learn this early, right? You know, did you get those cookies? No. Right? You know, we don't have to teach this stuff. It's natural to us. And here's the kicker. And this is just a few. A child, oh, here's one. A child does not have a job. Just saying. And a child only responds to concrete authority. Let me repeat that one. Remember, I was living in an 8x10 cell, concrete all around me, and some bars in front of me. And I heard this man say, a child only responds to concrete authority. You gotta remember, I wasn't the sharpest pencil in the pack. But when I heard concrete, and I know he wasn't talking about concrete walls, but discipline, right? We need to learn to discipline our children, because that's the only way they will respond many times. Spare the rod, spoil the child. We have to teach them discipline. I remember thinking, wow, what a revelation. Being a man is not that difficult. It's that we don't want to be responsible. We don't want to grow up. We just want to party all the time, party all the time. Party all the time. I'm aging myself here. That's an old song. You know, because being responsible is not fun, right? How many people pay taxes and insurance and bills? How many people do that? Several people? How does that feel? It doesn't feel good, right? Well, that's why people don't like doing it. Because, being responsible. Did you know that I walked out of prison at 40 and I didn't know that we're supposed to pay taxes on houses? I did not know that. I said, my mom taught me that. I said, what? I have to pay taxes? I already bought the house. No, you have to pay taxes every year. Every year? And insurance. And insurance? This is crazy, I said. Why do you think people give up? Because being responsible is not easy. Like I said, I didn't say this stuff is easy. I said this is what the right thing to do is. I came up with a few more. What a child is. You all want to hear mine? Mine? A child depends on his mom and dad for cigarette money. A child can't keep a job. A child lives with his parents. The reality, men, is that we need to grow up. And growing up, I've heard that for a long time. Growing up, well, what does that mean? Well, I decided to put some things together to try to understand what growing up means, which is what you have in your hand. I think that this is what a man should be. And if this is not what a man should be, I think this is very, very, very close to what we need in our society today. Would you agree to that? So this morning what I want to do is challenge you. Challenge you. Because this is what I believe men need. They need to be challenged. They need to be saying, listen, this is how it's done. And I got this idea when I was in prison. I share a lot of prison stories. Because when I was in prison, I was challenged. I was challenged. Listen, which way are you going? This is how this thing works here. It didn't matter what I thought. It didn't matter what I believed. It didn't matter what the situation was. This is how it goes. What way are you going? Are you going that way or this way? Who are you with? Talk to me. That's how I was challenged. And I had to make a decision. So I'm asking men in our society today, make a decision. Are you going to grow up? Are you going to man up? Or are you going to quit? But make a decision. And this is how we need to do it. Every great athlete has to do that. Every great leader has to do that. Every great evangelist has to do that. Every great preacher has to do that. You have to make decisions and move forward. You have to say, today, yeah, you can't change everything you've done so far. You can't change your past, right? We can't change that. We can't change, your destiny. But what you can do today is you can change directions. That simple. See how that works? Because your future depends on your direction. What direction are you going? And if you want to be a man, then we have to embrace some principles and let go of childishness. Let go of being what I call a loser. And I'm going to ask you this morning to consider raising up the bar for yourself. Raise it up. You know what? I haven't been doing enough. I'm shooting for higher. I really need to let go of that habit. And the last thing I want to share with you before I want to pray is life is a process, right? Discipleship is a process. Leadership is a process. This is why I'm going to give my son this at 13. So he can have something to shoot for. This is what we're going for, son. It's a process. And I came up with a little formula based on everything I've learned, everything I've known, every book I've read. I'm talking about the last 20 years. And it just finally came together for me. And I'm going to be teaching this in prison, by the way. I teach this in my classes, in the Choose to Change classes and mentoring classes. Because my goal, when I get in front of people, I want to teach something. Something that, another piece of the puzzle for your future, for your life, for your ministry, for your family. Just give you something, because this is how it works. If you come to church, or if you just started coming to church, and you expect things to change, from one day to the next, or a week, or a month, or a year even, you're sadly mistaken. Because because success in life and overcoming in life, it's not a destination. Success and overcoming in life is a process. And it's not something you pursue. Overcoming in life and being a better man and being a better father, it's not something you pursue. It's something that you're going to attract by the person you're becoming. This is how this stuff works. That's why you have to get in the process. So let me tell you how the process works. Just real quick, I'm going to give it to you. If you're writing notes, and if you don't have anything to write with, I'll give it to you if you want, if you ask me for it. Here's the formula. Philosophy. What you know, what you believe, sets your mindset. Okay? Because if you grab the hold of this, then this is going to become your mindset. This is going to be your philosophy. So what's going to happen is that your mindset creates your attitude. Your attitude dictates your actions. Right? What you do on a daily basis. Your actions develop habits. This is actually pretty profound. Your habits shape your lifestyle. And your lifestyle, my friend, takes you to your destiny. See, us here in Serious Men, we want more of God. We want more of leadership. We want more of something. And if you want to be a better leader, which is what we need, a better husband, a better father, you're going to have to stay in this process and continue learning. continue learning. Like today you learn something. You add it to your little, it's like your little stepping stones, right? That's how it works. I didn't plan to be an evangelist. I didn't plan to be a preacher. That wasn't my plan. Even 5 years ago. But because I was in this process, because I wanted to be a man, I wanted to be a better husband, I wanted to be a better leader, because I was continually learning, I attracted. Pastor saw something. And all of a sudden I was set on a worldwide stage of becoming an international evangelist. It still blows my mind. How does that happen? It's a process. It's a process. And as long as you stay in the process, you're going to go up. That's how this works. You're not going to learn overnight everything, right? It's a process. And I'll give you this little formula, if you may, because when I was in prison, my biggest question is, how do I change my life? Just tell me what to do. Because I knew the Bible. I knew the scriptures. I knew them in my mind. But I didn't know how to change my life. So I've learned to put ideas, thoughts into action. And that builds me. Being a father, and the process of being a father, a leader, a disciple, a preacher. Like if you want to be you're contending to be a preacher one day. You're in a process, aren't you? Right? As preachers, what do? We get up, go to prayer, come to church, read our Bibles, fellowship, outreach, right? It's a process. And as long as you keep in that process, and the better you get at the process, the more effective you'll be. And then you tweak and you just, that's how it works. That's it. It's not that difficult. But we need to become a man and be responsible. So I want to ask you this morning to consider rising up, stepping it up a notch, going and talking to your pastor and saying, you know what, I'm going to step it up. Because it's to your benefit, so that you could be a man. I remember, I'll say this and then we're going to pray. I remember for many, many years, and I'm talking about even just 2 or 3 years ago, I have very, very low self-esteem. I didn't think too highly of myself. And for good reason. I was a loser. You know, I always thought anybody was better than me. Anybody. A cockroach was better than me. I really, really thought that in my mind. And I wish I had more time to teach, but I don't. I really thought that I'm just a loser. Everybody was better than me. Everybody. And it took me years to finally be able to speak to men, like leaders and pastors, just eye to eye. And say, well, they're men just like me, saved by grace just like me, learn the process just like me. I'm just doing what I do, they do what they do. And it's hard to rise up to believe that you can be more than you ever thought possible. And I'm telling you, you can be more than you ever thought possible. Because God makes it possible. Amen. That's why. Not because of you, but because of God. Jesus Christ. He allows us. What a privilege. He allows us to rise up, and He takes us. Now let me bow our heads for a minute. You know, maybe you're here this morning, you know, and you weren't sure what to expect. But it's a privilege to be here. I mean, for me, it's amazing that I can even stand before this group of men in our Paso church. contending to do something. All I did was give you just a little piece of information. But I want to just pray for some of you. Maybe you're here this morning, and maybe you're struggling. You're struggling with some things. Struggling with some issues in your life. And you say, you know what, I'm not right with God. I need to make a recommitment this morning to God. I need to ask Him to help me. In fact, I need to ask Him I need forgiveness this morning. Is there anybody like that? I'd love to pray for you. If you just lift up your hand and say, you know what, I need prayer this morning. It's okay. I need to rise up and be the man that you've called him to be, Lord. Is anybody at all like that? Maybe you're backslidden. Maybe you just need to make a recommitment this morning. So you know what, I need God. I need to reconnect with my God, my church, my family. I need forgiveness. I need to rise up. Anybody like that? Amen. I see that hand. Anybody else want to join this brave heart? Because we all stumble and fall. We all have difficulty sometimes. We all struggle with our own mind and our own mindsets. Satan is out like a thief, like a roaring lion. He wants to steal what you have. And sometimes we struggle. Then you've got to keep fighting. And the first step to fighting is admitting. And then saying, you know what? I'm moving forward. The devil's not going to steal. Anybody need prayer this morning for a recommitment to God, to salvation, forgiveness? Amen. Just want you to repeat this prayer with me. Even you that raised your hand. Just say, Father in heaven, thank you for your grace.
Thank you for your grace.
And I thank you for saving me, for bringing me thus far. I want to be a man, a man of God, a man of courage, a man who leads. I want to commit my life to your hands this morning. And I thank you for forgiving me, that you give me a second chance. And I thank you for your love and your grace as I commit my life into your hands. In Jesus' name. Amen. So, we have a couple minutes for questions and answers. I don't have answers, but do I have any questions about what I just shared, or anything actually? Anything is fine? About thoughts or ideas that you might have? Well, thoughts, not ideas. Go ahead, sir.
Pastor, I was just wondering, you said you got saved in prison. How old were you when you realized that your whole life was, you were living a lie, and you found the truth? How old were you at that time? And what brought you to that point?
The first time I came to prison, I was 17 years old. And in this county jail, this old man used to come and tell us about Jesus. Brother Bond, he walked like this. Bless his heart, I just listened to him out of respect. But he planted the seed of Jesus Christ in my heart. About 5 years later, about 2 or 3 years into my incarceration, I went to church for the first time and I got saved. I got radically saved. Devil stomping, devil chasing, Holy Ghost filled, on fire for Jesus. But before I got out of prison, I got confused. Like many church people, they get confused. And that's when I learned that I needed something back then. But then I backslid. That's when I became a hardcore drug addict. Because I got out of prison at the age of 24. I'm going to share this story tonight. And at the age of 33 years old, robbed the store for one more hit. See, I knew what I needed. I just couldn't do it. That's why I tell people I wish them desperation. Because sometimes we know what we need. We know what we need to do. See, because most of what I do is not teaching you. I'm actually reminding you. This is what we do. We remind people. So, when did I know? When I was 19 or 21? And then halfway through my addiction, so I knew I was wrong. I knew I was wrong. So that's what I knew. That makes sense?
Yep.
Then when they put handcuffs on me, I really knew. Yes, anyone else? Yes, sir.
I had a question on number 7, where it says, learns to fight the right battles at the right time. What made you put that on there? What were you thinking?
I actually learned that from my wife. Yeah, I'm serious, that specific one. Because as men, sometimes we don't know how to, what battles to fight, especially with our children, or with our wives, with our brethren. We always want to be right, you want to, if you're like me, you always want to be right. You don't know how to just humble yourself, no problem, move on. This is not a battle to die on. This one, we can let it sit and move on. That's what that means. With your wife, there's some things that, I'm not a great advice giver or anything, but I've learned, because I've been married 28 years, there's some things I just have to let it alone, leave it alone. That's what I mean by that. That's a good question. I have to think about that for a minute. Why did I put that? No, I learned that from my wife. I love doing what I do. I love teaching. The reason I'm an evangelist today is because I started a mentoring class. And I work with men coming out of prison. Because that's my favorite subject. Because I know them. I know their mentality. I know where they're at. And I know that we don't believe in ourselves. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to believe in yourself. You can have faith, you can believe in God, you can believe in your wife, you can believe in your pastor, but to believe in yourself, it's difficult. Yes, sir.
Can you name some people that you've helped do that, and today they're doing something different, or they're doing something...
Oh man, I'm going to show a video. We're going to show the video this morning. That video I clipped. In the video clip, it's a promotional video that I have for my evangelism. And in that video, there's 3 guys. There's Oscar, there's Danny Martinez, and there's Zapata. Zapata's the black guy. Oscar is the Mexican, looks white guy. And Danny, he just... But Oscar and Zapata, they speak. Danny's important, but they only show a picture of him. Just in that video. He has a tattoo right here. His head is all tattooed. Powerful testimony I'm talking about. Oscar got out of prison 2.5 years ago, heard my story on the hunger, gang member. He had given his life to Jesus Christ. He said, man, he wants to change, finally. I mean, it's a long story, crazy stuff. All the juvenile, crazy stuff. But then he didn't know where we were going to go, what church he was going to... He didn't even know even if he was going to make it. He got out of prison, heard my story, locked into the church. Last year he became an assistant pastor to our Spanish pastor. And just last week, in Tucson Conference, he got sent out to take over a church. Hallelujah. Powerful stuff. Zapata was the first guy that I met when I went into prison 3 years ago. I started going into the prison. And I remember this guy, he just came up to me, hey brother. Because when I started speaking, you'll hear him in the testimony. He said, when I heard Orlando, he spoke truth, and that's what I needed. And I know that's what these men need in prison. And he would come and he'd sit right there, and he just, man, when I get out, I'm going to come to your church. I'm going to come to your church. He got out, locked in, got married. He's become our first Choose the Change door director in our church. And our church is big. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of activity. And he's our door director. We just came back from an invasion team, 52 people. He was leading that invasion team. A week-long invasion team. Zapata. 2 times to prison. When he was 17 and he was 22. These guys, Danny Martinez came in about 1.5 years ago. I go to the parole office every week. Every month. And I share my story that I'm going to share tonight. And I invite him into our program, into our church, into our mentoring class. And I remember Danny Martinez was sitting right there. And I was sharing. I never share about my pastor. Never, ever. at this orientation. And that day, for some reason, I wanted to share about my pastor. I said, if you think my story's crazy, you got to hear my pastor. And I started sharing about, he was locked up in a closet when he was young, and he was this, and he was that. And this young man, all of a sudden, because he was focused on me the whole time I was speaking, about 40 minutes. But when I said that, he said, was his name Roman Gutierrez? And I said, how did you know that? He said, I read his book in prison. Listen, powerful stuff. Man, this guy came to our church, he locked in. I'm talking about this guy had tattoos all over his head, had a tattoo right there, tattoo all over his arms. People in my church were intimidated at first, but they're learning. They're getting. Well, this guy now, he's an usher. He's intending to preach. He's been for over a year now, and he's already talking to a church girl. Listen, I told my wife, and this is a church girl. I'm talking about she was born in church. 19-year-old, beautiful little girl, beautiful couple. Okay? But I told my wife, we're going to hear those words. I promise you, one day we're going to hear those words. And she said, what? You know how when they get married, they testify? Do they do that here?
Yeah.
You get married, each one testify? And I told her, we're going to hear those words. I never thought I would marry a convict. Trust me, the father was like, oh, boy, wait. But see, that's what's happening in our church, man. Powerful stuff, bro. Because it doesn't matter where we come from, brother. It's where we're going. That's what matters. See, once I got that, listen, I said, man, I'm going to the top. Because my past does not hold me down. The devil's a liar. And I moved forward. And I said, I'm going to the top. We need preachers with tattoos. We need leaders with tattoos. Because there's a bunch of people with tattoos, have you noticed? That don't believe that their life can change. There's some of you sitting in here that don't believe you can change. Yes, you can. You can. So, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Talking about change right now, you just said that. Obviously, coming from a background where you had no authority and it was just all selfishness and self-will. Okay, coming to an atmosphere like what we have in the fellowship, discipline, discipleship, structure, responsibilities. We all say we want it, but then when we come into it and we put ourselves under, headship, can you name a couple of, defining moments in your beginning stages that were challenging and say, man, what am I doing? Am I really, do I really want to do this? Or because it all comes to us at a point where it's difficult because we're changing. God's removing and dealing with some issues, and so.
I was going to share this morning. I actually had something else to share. I have it right here. And it's part of that. It's part about learning to... See, a lot of what I learned, I actually learned in business. When I was in prison, and I'm going to answer that question because it's important. Because a lot of people come to church and they don't want to discipline themselves. They don't want to put themselves under the authority of the pastor. And if you want to be a great leader, you better follow a great leader. Listen closely. You have to. And because you don't understand leadership, you don't understand what's going on with the leadership, then we're very easily to judge. Well, I'm going to do what they... Well, what else are you going to do? Think about it. Yeah. Why should I do what they do? Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? See, in business, I learned in business philosophy that leadership is vital. You can't have anything without leadership. You can't. Some people say, well, I'm a leader. Well, you have to follow first. This is just how it works. And it's very simple principles. That if you want to change your life, you want to be a disciple. If you're a disciple, you want to preach one day. Let me lock in on that because we're in a church setting, serious men here. You want to be a businessman. Any leader, you need somebody to be accountable to. That's just how it is. So when that was brought to me, I started my own foundation, Choose to Change Foundation, because I wanted to do my own thing. Okay, and that's what a lot of people want to do. But I understood that, no, but I need to be accountable. So everything I ever did when I came to church, I remember I was in church for 14 years. I've been in church for 14 years, since I got out of prison at the age of 40. Okay? And for the first 8 years, I didn't do nothing. I didn't want to be a preacher. I didn't want to do this. This is not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to be a good Christian man. That's it. But, got stirred, and I knew that if I wanted to do something, I was going to have to get underneath my pastor. Because I understood leadership. Because I learned it in business. Because you can't do it on your own. That's part of what I was going to teach today. You need somebody to guide you. And if you don't like it, well, go find someone else then. But you have to submit under some authority, okay, that you believe in. Because the same way you're going to serve your pastor or your leader is the same way people are going to serve you when you're a leader or a pastor. So that's it. So, no, well, you have to do it. We put it that way. Well, that's all I have.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Amen. Let me qualify that. These preachers with tattoos that came in with tattoos. We're going to have a great day. Amen. Let's stand. Time to raise the bar. Amen. Time to raise the bar. Let's worship God. And then as we subside, Juan Gonzalez is going to close us in prayer. Father, we thank you so much.